Hello, film studies students, and welcome to our one of our second to last movie lessons. We're going to be talking about the analysis of the home film, and most importantly, we're going to introduce the most important film of the year, Star Wars. So we've been talking about analyzing films and different components all semester long. So the basic approach to analyzing film is first off, you kind of watch movies twice. So this is the process of watching, analyzing, and evaluating the film. It's easier to analyze films when you view them twice. The first time you watch a film, you're too into the plot. You're too into trying to figure out what comes next. Who's going to do this? Who's going to do what? What's going to happen? What's going to be the conclusion? The second time, you can go back and kind of look at the technical aspects, the cinematography, the music, the acting. So one viewing is hard to get involved and still study the picture from an academic point of view or a film analysis point of view. Films are too complex as well. You miss too much, especially when you're trying to figure out who's that guy and what did they just say. So some of the things you need to look for: theme. We've talked about theme the whole time. This is the first step of the analysis. What's the movie about? What's the unifying central concern? The relationship of the parts to the whole. So all these things we've talked about during the class: story, dramatic structure, symbolism, characterization, conflict, setting, title. I don't need to read all of them, but all these things we've been talking about go into the overall film style. So view it twice. If there's a clear relationship to all this, then the theme is valid and it works, and yeah, you got a good movie. The film's level of ambition. Is it entertainment or is it art? Some movies are out there just to be art. They're there to look beautifully and sound beautifully and they're to move you and create emotion. Some are just fun. They're just popcorn flicks that you're just going to eat popcorn and enjoy it because there's a lot of blowing stuff up and attractive people and it's fun to watch. What's the film's purpose? Does it set out to be the greatest movie ever made? Does it set out to be the most popular movie ever made? Does it set out to scare you or make you laugh or make you cry? Did it succeed in doing that? Did it try to make you think? So the objective evaluation of the film is, given the film's level of ambition, does it succeed in what it tries to do? Did it fulfill being an art piece or a period piece, or did it make you laugh? Why did the film succeed or why did it fail? There's certain aspects that can make films to fail. Be prepared to defend the evaluation. Maybe even if you're really into film, get an IMDb account and start posting personal reviews. You can do that. You can read fan reviews for films, and it's very interesting to not only document the movies you watch, score them, rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, but then defend your rating and why you believe that, and then try to read other people and see if you agree or disagree with that. Then there's also the subjective evaluation of the film, which your personal evaluation and reaction to the film, which is kind of what I'm talking about. I mean, you should have an open mind and go, okay, this movie set out to entertain me. It did that. It wasn't that great. I didn't really enjoy it. So that's kind of blending the objective and the personal evaluation. So other approaches to analysis. There's the evaluation and discussion. The film is a technical achievement. It just looks good. It's a beautifully made film, or the sound is great, or it broke ground in terms of how the camera moved. More concerned with how the movie was made, not what was in it. Lawrence of Arabia is probably arguably the most beautifully made, most difficult made film in history. It's a little slow. It's a little boring, but it's wow. It well made. Does it showcase the actor? Does the actor just do incredible things? Yeah, the movie kind of is terrible and it's not really that fun, but oh my gosh, that acting was incredible. This is the personality cult, which is where we focus on who was in the film. The film is a product of a single creative mind, like a Tarantino flick, or a Hitchcock movie, or Orson Welles, like we did with Citizen Kane. This is the auteur event approach. So you focus on the creator, like Wes Anderson pictured here in the Grand Budapest Hotel. The film is a moral, philosophical, or social statement. We get a lot of that. Like, for instance, you've probably seen Wall-E. Wall-E's a cute Pixar Disney movie, but it has a social statement about the environment, and it's very liberal leaning in that point of view. So it focuses on the message of the film, the humanistic approach, then the emotional and sensual experience. Does it make you laugh? Does it make you cry? Does it make you scared? Does it make you excited? Did it create feelings in you? Did it create boredom? Sometimes movies do that as well. And then film is a repeated form. There's the genre approach, which we've kind of gone through. There's westerns, there's musicals, there's action, there's sci-fi, there's sports. And they all have a typical genre that they cookie cutter. This fits a sports movie. which is funny because our sports movie does not fit the sports movie genre. Little spoiler alert. So compare other films to the genre, and then there's the political or gender statement. There's also the personal criteria of films for you. You need to develop in your own mind, if you're a serious film student, what makes a good movie. So what are your standards for a good film? All right, so top science fiction movies. American Film Institute, number one is 2001: A Space Odyssey. Ugh. Critics love it. It's beautiful filmmaking. The soundtrack is amazing. Don't get me wrong. It's good, but the third act is so weird. It's so out there. You can't understand it unless you're tripping, you know what, on some drugs from the 60s. Number two, the one that should, well, we'll get into this, but Star Wars, Episode 4, A New Hope. 3, E.T., phenomenal movie. 4, A Clockwork Orange. One of the few movies in the history that I have ever had. And I'm an avid film goer. I cannot finish it. I've tried twice. Just cannot finish this movie. The Day the Earth Stood Still, an old 50s sci-fi movie. Blade Runner, great movie from 82. Alien, the horror film set in space by Ridley Scott. Terminator 2, Judgment Day. I went and saw that on my 13th birthday. What in the theater? I mean, what a great movie for a 13-year-old to go watch. It's got action and robots and some curse words. And yeah. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's the old 50s version. And then Back to the Future. I don't like this list, so I'm going to give you mine. Little meme from Star Wars. Your teacher took your phone. Well, mine took my legs. All right, so mine, Star Wars. We're not even going to get to the different episodes, just Star Wars. I'll take any Star Wars over any other science fiction movie. Just know that. Even Attack of the Clones, even Rise of the Skywalker, which is, they're not great, but they're still better than anything else. Number 2, E.T. Number 3, Back to the Future, and that includes the whole trilogy there. 4, The Matrix. 5, Inception. 6, Donnie Darko, really, really fun, kind of messes with your mind movie. 7, Interstellar, kind of the same thing. 8, Terminator 2. 9, Tenet. 3 of these films on here are Christopher Nolan films. And then, a little guilty pleasure here, Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone, Demolition Man. Check that one out. Where all restaurants in the future are Taco Bell. So, Star Wars. I reference it enough. We have to talk about the monumental, probably the most important movie of the modern era. Star Wars 1977, created, directed by George Lucas. He was inspired by the old Flash Gordon serials, samurai movies, particularly ones by Akira Kurosawa, the books The Hero with a Thousand Faces, Dune, and Lord of the Rings. It stars, at the time, pretty much an unknown cast. Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and then Sir Alec Guinness, who was an Academy Award winner actor from the movie The Bridge of the River Kwai. Kind of, old school. Career was kind of down in the dumps, and he does this kind of weird flick that he didn't even know what he was doing. Lucas did something different. He showed the used universe rather than the sleek, shiny new science fiction. There was things that were rusted and old and decayed, and it showed like there's pieces of junk, like the Millennium Falcon out there in space. Huge box office hit. I mean, this is where we get the term a blockbuster, because people lined up around the block to go watch it. And they'd watch it again and again and again, because before home viewing, before VCRs, you don't know what those are. Maybe DVDs, you know what those are. Before streaming, you had to see a movie again. You had to go watch it in the theater. And so this stayed in the theaters for nearly a year. This is the all-time biggest hit until E.T. came out. It's currently number 2 all-time when you adjust it to inflation. This is the original Star Wars. And when it came out, it was titled just Star Wars. Then they did the sequel, The Empire Strikes Back. And so they re-released it and retitled it Episode 4, A New Hope. And people went, why are we starting with 4? And George Lucas was like, that's how we count in Star Wars. 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. And then we'll get like 7. And then we'll have like... what do we got there? We got like a 3.5, and then 3.75, and then 8, 9. And then we'll do some other stuff too. All the films have made, well, this is an old figure, over $10 billion worldwide. I typed this up before Rise of the Skywalker. 4.5 billion in the United States. It's the second biggest franchise in cinema history behind the Marvel MCU. But the MCU has like 20 films. America needed this film after Vietnam and Watergate and all these realistic art films of the 70s. And the 70s were, hey, we can say the F word and we can show boobs, and that's what they did in virtually everything. just needed a fun movie. Ralph McQuarrie's paintings helped develop the visual side of Star Wars. Lucas secured the sequel, and then something that was revolutionary at the time, the merchandising rights. He didn't really make a lot of money off Star Wars in terms of the picture, but he got the rights to make the sequel exactly how he wanted, and then all the merchandise. And before this, merchandising for a film was nothing, but Star Wars changed everything. You could get Star Wars toys. In fact, the toys sold out that you could buy an empty box in the Christmas of 1977 into 1978. Basically, they couldn't make the action figures fast enough. And so you would give your kids this empty box, and they would basically say, hey, in a couple months, they're going to get a couple Star Wars toys. Just genius. I mean, toothbrushes, you name it, they've done it. Cereals, yes, yes. The cast and crew thought it was going to be a huge bust. Lucas used his own company, Industrial Light and Magic Company, to create the effects, which now that is the leading cutting edge, like #1 special effects producers in Hollywood today. ILM, still around today. The release was delayed from Christmas 76 to May 1977. Lucas actually wanted Orson Welles to be the voice of Darth Vader, but instead he chose James Earl Jones, who you guys probably know as the voice of Mufasa and Lion King. David Prowse was this 6'7" bodybuilder who actually was the physical actor of Darth Vader. He just passed away, sadly. He did all the lines and didn't know that they dubbed his voice out until he went and saw the movie, and he's like, wait, that's not my voice. People that tried out for the picture: Kurt Russell, Burt Reynolds, Nick Nolte, Billy D. Williams, who later is cast as Lando Calrissian, Christopher Walken, all tried to sign up to be Han Solo. Jodie Foster tried out to be Princess Leia. The film has led to 3 trilogies. Disney bought this in 2012 for $4 billion. And they've made their money back already. This is a major portion of our cultural fabric in the United States. It's cited in TV, movies, music, politics. There was a Star Wars program in the 1980s, video games. It's probably arguably the second most referenced film in all of cinema history, behind The Wizard of Oz. It was nominated for 10 Academy Awards, winning 6, mainly in technical and musical things. Lost Best Picture to Annie Hall, the comedy by Woody Allen. Ugh. On AFI, it's the 13th greatest film. It's the 15th greatest film in 1997. It's the second greatest science fiction film, 39th most inspiring, 27th most heart-pounding. This has the #1 film greatest film score. The music is top-notch. John Williams. Han Solo is the 14th greatest hero. Obi-Wan Kenobi is the 37th. Somehow Luke Skywalker didn't make the list. Darth Vader is the third greatest villain. We know that's a travesty. That should be #1. May the Force be with you is #8 greatest movie quote. Rotten Tomatoes give it a 93%. Episode 5 with The Empire Strikes Back, 94. Episode 7, it should be 6. 92%. And They Shoot Pictures, Don't They? It's 105. George Lucas is the 101st greatest director of all time. Entertainment Weekly has a #16. It is Time Magazine all-time 100 movie. It's on the AMC film site. So was Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. On IMDb, and these may have changed slightly because of fan rankings. This is the 20th greatest film. Actually, fans have rated The Empire Strikes Back a little higher. Return of the Jedi is in their top 250, and so is The Force Awakens. The UK's Channel 4, don't even know what that is, they ranked Episode 4 and 5 the greatest films of all time. It has actually won numerous polls as the greatest movies of all time over the years, mainly because of fanboys like me. So, Star Wars. If you haven't seen it, you're a communist, fascist, anti-American pig. If you love America, watch Star Wars.